raid call and wants to participate, come up to we now have a room for Relish Every Word live streams. So feel free to come over if you've got something to read and some homework to do or to share, things like that. Or if you've got some insight on first, third person. There is a second person, but that one's kind of weird. So anyway.
That's hard.
It is, and it reads weird. It reads strange. So hello, guys. How are you guys today? I see Stream. I'm glad. I have a chair here for the dog. She's been sitting here with me for a while, and then she said, oh, well, nothing's working anyway, and she went for a nap. Go figure. So I finally give her her own chair, and she decides that today she wants to be quiet. So there we go. So we were talking, the homework for this week was the idea of a first person, third person. And that, is how are you going to tell your story? What is the point of view? There are other ways to tell stories, and maybe someday we'll talk about them, but they're often kind of odd. You can talk, like from the point of view of God, where you see all the things, but you feel very distant from characters, and they're not, fables. Sometimes things can be told like that. There is a second person way of telling stories, which is, again, it reads a little odd, and we'll talk about those some other day. First person means I'm talking, or your character. Your character is talking like they are talking to the reader directly. They're saying, I went and did this, and I was thinking I could try to do that, and here I am standing here, getting ready to shoot this man who's, broke into my house, or, whatever. You're saying the character is talking to the reader. Third person, we're saying, she went over there, she held the gun, he broke into the window, and it, both, depending on what you're doing, they both certainly have strengths. And I had posted, I don't know, where did I put it? Was it on the forums? It was on the forums, right? I posted a couple of examples. Oh my gosh, I have so many things open. Oh. Okay, that one scared me. Get a cup of cocoa. I love it. That's really that's fun. Yeah. Okay, that's good. So over on the forums at Kids for Luck, we have started using those things now. I did post my laptop information for those who have been asking about that. The dates I'm going to be in the UK is posted for those who have asked about that. Let's see where I put the homework. Oh, and look at the things. Dialogue snippets, homework, characters, fairy tale, idea. Look at all the new people posting. I love it. You guys are using this. That's, yay. Do you realize we have got over 900 people who subscribe to our forums now? Yes, there are over 900 people in the last 3 weeks. They're not participating in the forums. They are subscribers to the forums. So there are people out there who are actually paying attention to this stuff, which is a little unnerving. Okay, so I wrote two little pieces. I wrote one. The other one I just pulled out of a kind of vampire thing that I was doing years ago in a monthly magazine. But this one says, first person, I do not seek salvation. I long for fear in shadow. He offers me a home and I want punishment. I find his tenderness repulsive. I want a savage grab instead of a gentle hand. I want only to feel once more the passion you awoke in me. I want to be taken, slammed up against my own hunger, made to face my darkness and know myself truly for what I have become. So it's a vampire thing. Third person, as she looked at the man standing before her, he offered her a home and tenderness. But it is punishment I deserve, she thought. I do not seek your salvation. She turned away in sadness. It was all she could do. His tenderness repulsed her. She longed for fear and shadow. She felt... Ooh, we have some atmosphere for this. I like the crackling noise. I'm starting to like this noise. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Neurolos. Oh my God. Yeah, it feels like atmosphere. The dark nights, the vampires. She turned away in sadness. It was all she could do. His tenderness repulsed her. She longed for fear and shadow. She'd felt passion once, with him, only with him. She wanted that passion again. She wanted him to return, to take her, to slam her against the darkness of her own hunger. With you, I know truly what I have become, she thought. I was not to lead you from your darkness. You were to show me the way deep and swift into my own. So they certainly, I mean, they both have got strengths, and they both have problems. They will both have problems. So, Wicked Fairy, you're first in line up here. Did you want to read something?
Sure.
Good.
It's probably gonna suck, though. Just a warning. Am I breaking up?
Nope.
I can't tell.
Nope.
No?
So far,
Okay,
so good.
Okay, good. Because my net's been a little wonky today. Okay, so I have my first person or third person first?
First person. First person. We'll go with that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I can't believe this could be possible. I have always known of myself, but this feels different. I have so many questions. Am I really alive? Who am I? What do I do now? This feels so strange, to be able to move on my own. I test my movement, bending my arms this way and that, my slippered feet shifting along the porcelain box. As I look around, I see a face, but not just a face, it's a whole person. I can't bring myself to move anymore. The flurry of questions come flooding back. Am I in danger? Where did he come from? How long has he been there watching me? Who are you?
There you go. Good. So a lot of questions, and in your eye, you're in the guy, you're in that person's head. You know, you're hearing what they're thinking, their confusion, their what is going on, and you're getting it right through. You know, it's like you've become part of that person. You're right there in there with him.
Mm-hmm.
So do the next one.
Okay, third person. It was as if she was awoken from a dream. So many questions flew around her mind like birds at a feeder. Who am I? How is this possible? She began to evaluate her flexibility, and as she looked around herself, she noticed a figure standing there. Like a statue, he stared at her, not moving. Startled, she just stood there waiting. After a moment, her voice broke the silence of the high shelf for the first time. Who are you?
And these are good examples of kind of the strengths and weaknesses of these two things, and we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that because this is what we're here to talk about today, because they certainly have a place, either one. And sometimes I've written in both. I found when I was doing the fantasy stuff, based on my World of Warcraft characters, they always came out in first person, and I didn't even realize it for a long time. And then I realized when I was trying to accomplish something else, expanding them, it wasn't working for me. I actually went back and rewrote, oh man, a whole bunch of stuff in another way, because it's like, oh, I like this is good, except, okay, I don't know how to do this now. There were things. So, Lizzie, did you have something you wanted to share with us today?
I only wrote a first person one because as I was writing the third person, I was dying.
Okay. Well, we don't want you dead, so one is good. Let's go with that one. I'm sitting here reading. So I'll let Lizzie get that ready. Did you want to go ahead and read it, Lizzie?
I'm not very good at reading aloud.
Okay. Did you want to post it in the raid chat and I'll read it? You don't
Sure.
have to. You don't have to if you don't want to. Nobody's forced to do this, but I can do it for you. And then I'll take a break here. We'll look at some of the things in chat because there's a lot going on. Okay, so I always thought that after death my existence would be over, that everything would go black and life would just cease to be. No thoughts, no pain, and no pressure. So imagine my surprise when I opened my eyes after being shot in the head by my captors. I feel nothing. Not even a wound on my head. I don't see my body on the floor like some cliche out of a supernatural horror novel. I can't move things with my mind or phase through walls, so I'm not a ghost. Was I really shot or tricked into thinking I was? Did death itself just reject me from its peaceful embrace, or did I simply faint? Whatever the case may be, I was left in this stone cold prison I may have been killed in. No one around, no sound, no pain, just me and my thoughts. Was this the reality of death? The funny thing in this situation is I'm not truly worried about where or what I am, but how I got into this mess in the first place. Was it a case of wrong time, wrong place, or was I targeted? If I can leave this small freezing cell, my first mission will be to try to find out why. Then I'll worry about the rest. Sweetie, that's kind of awesome. No kidding. It's like, I want to know.
Wow.
I want to know. Tell me things. That's pretty good. Gosh, no kidding. Nice idea. Essentia's cracking whips. Was there anybody else who were in the other raid call chat rooms that wanted to come into here? And I know I have to wait for a few seconds to this to catch up, but is there anyone else who, I see Color Slide, Katie, Emma, Flying Scotsman is down below, although I don't think he's able, I mean, I know he's listening, but I don't think he can actually join us today. Neener will be back for a later one. I think Haig Yorkie is here for the later one. We're going to be having a 6 o'clock, this will be shorter today, and then we're going to have another one at 6 o'clock, so we can try to get both groups of people. There's just so many people that can't do one or the other, and so we'll break it up into 2 pieces. So I'm going to look in the chat and see if there's anything in there about writing that needs to be talked about or discussed, or things. I see a stream. Oh, this is going all the way back. Gray Lady, hello. DJ, good to see you. Katie's here. Hello. Nerolosa. Mr. Potato Chip, hello. Good to see you again. Pokes is here. We've already talked. Hello again. Manuel, good to see you. Awesome. So Jack, I haven't seen you in for ages. And Catastrophobia. I always have such a hard time saying that name, and I love it so much. Aver Kamen. Oh, awesome. Going to be here passively while I'm working on a paper. You should be in here reading a paper. We'd like to hear what you've got to say, I'm sure. So what do we have? Let's see. Stressed my... And Katie's having a hard day and is twitchy. I'm sorry to hear that, sweetie. I hope you can get hot chocolate or get a glass of wine. Calm down. The followers may or may not be showing. They're showing for me. It's off and on. Not always. It's a Twitch thing.
Yeah, I can't even get chat to load today.
Oh, no, that's not good. Reg, Cooper, hello. Always good to see you again. Godfather, good morning. And why am I here during the day? I have no idea. Mr. Potato Chip, Ava, you have awesome eyes. Well, thank you. That's sweet. And then Essentia, are you being proposed to? She's taken. I'm sorry.
Oh,
that's too bad. Married to Quill. That's some serious competition for anybody who's thinking to move into that relationship. Okay, you can help me. Oh, he's had a massive argument with his wife. So we need a dear, a dear Essentia column, I think, because she can deal with a lot of stuff really, really well. That's very good. Nightbot lives to toss me on the naughty step. Poor Nerlissa. Da-da-da-da. Let's see. Somebody said love Lord of the Rings. Dum-da-dum. Lizzie will do fine. I know, right? Ever Cabbage, I bet she would have made this sound amazing. That's okay. We'll get her next time. It's hard getting used to this, talking out loud and putting yourself out there in the writing, which is the only reason I read my little bit. I figure you guys have all seen it already, but this forces me to say, yeah, it's okay to put it out there in public. That's why I did it. This is training here. Okay, so we got something else going on. I'm going to let Essentia deal with the marital problems. I'm not very good at marital problems. I just leave. I just leave. And Jack, yes, thank you for, I'll call you Jack, because I can say that one. The poster behind me, which one? This one, Lord of the Rings. Actually, I think Essentia bought it for me, and the Star Wars up there was a Christmas present a few years ago from Quill. The Squeeze Me, Stomp Me, Make Me Wine was a Christmas present, or not a Christmas present, but just a present from people that I met on the internet that I went out to California to see. And I think that was bought on the pier in, oh gosh, where? Santa Cruz. It was in Santa Cruz, actually. Essentia, okay, dear Essentia, I can't find my right sock. I don't know why. Oh God, I've written something for you on in Word. Snow. Avery Cameron, I'm not talking to you today. If we're talking snow, just leave. Just go away. It is not snowing today. Give me a day. Give me a day. So, okay, so there was nothing in there particularly about writing, so that's okay. So the rest of us, we're going to be talking about first and third person. And I'm going to ask, Essentia, you're in here and you're smart too. Did you have anything you wanted to say? Signing me up for things. I just got called
aside from what I just typed into the chat, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read what she just typed to me. She said, "You evil woman." No signing me up for things. No giving these people ideas. And then she laughed and stuck her tongue out at me because she's a kind, respectful daughter. Winter is coming.
That's right.
That's right. Reg Cooper, winter has been here for 7 months, and that's that's pretty good even by Game of Thrones standards. I think we did good. French wine tonight. Oh God, what is the dog behind you? That's Bella. That's my my rescue dog that I got last fall. So she usually sits here and makes all kinds of noise and screams to be part of everything. So I got her own chair, which she sat here with, and then we had a hard time getting the stream started, or the XSplit couldn't seem to connect anywhere, and then she just got bored and left and went to take a nap. So Color Slide, hello. Did you have something to share with us today? You can come into the Relish Every Word live stream chat in Raid Call if you've got something.
Sea Slide.
Ava, Reg Cooper doesn't have a mic, but sent me a private message with his write-up things.
Absolutely. So Essentia can read it. You can post it in Raid Call, and I can read it. If that's awesome. Not a problem at all. That's good.
I think I might let you, I can talk today, but I can hear him sounding a little weird, and yeah, so I think I might post it for you to do it.
Okay, go ahead and post it, and I'll read that then. While I'm waiting for that to get posted, DJ, the dog is Husky Shepherd for the most part. I think she's probably got a whole lot of different things going on, but Husky Shepherd for the most part. She was in a very abusive home for the first 10 months of her life, and then she spent the next 8 months in a kennel, being too afraid for anybody, to take her out, do anything with her, and she's come along pretty good. If you've seen any of my recordings with the dog here, you know that her fear is rapidly passing. Okay, so we have something here. First person. And this is from Reg, is that correct? This is Reg?
Yeah, Reg Cooper.
Okay, I can feel the sun burning on my back. I'm still heading north, away from danger. I can feel the desert sand enveloping my feet like a hot blanket. Each time pulling on my boots, holding them down, only to let go suddenly. My throat is dry, my tongue feels like a piece of sandpaper. My last precious drops of water are in my canteen, dangling under my shoulder. But I won't drink it, not yet. The walk is tiring. I'm being cooked alive in my armor. Shiny armor, heavy plating. Not good to survive in the desert, but I have no choice. It's either being boiled alive or end up like a pincushion, just like the others. We were 5 when we left our guard post. Now there's just me. One by one, the others had shed their armor, thinking we were far enough away from danger. One by one, they found out they were wrong. The desert folk have started their offensive early this year. Every year we played the dance. Every year they came in great numbers to reclaim the desert that they had deserted the winter before. We, people of the temperate zone, can't survive the desert in summer in the scorching 60 degrees. They, the desert folk, can't survive in the winter. Then the temperature falls to a mere 30 degrees. We both need the salts from the rocks in that region to survive. If I'm lucky, I'll get to shelter before the sun reaches its highest peak and before the desert folk catch me. Cool?
Ooh.
Very nice. Ow, ow, sorry. I got something good.
Suddenly Bella.
No, it wasn't. It was me sticking my toes through the cages
Oh.
of the guinea pigs. and I went to move it, and it kind of bent in a place that doesn't really want to bend all that well.
Ouch.
Well, a little bit. Okay, so let's hear it in third person. I love that. Every year we played the dance. Nice line. That's pretty. He could feel the sun burning on his back. He was still heading north, away from danger. He could feel the desert sand enveloping his feet like a warm, no, a hot blanket, each time pulling on his boots, holding them down, only to let go suddenly. His throat was dry, his tongue feeling like a piece of sandpaper. His last precious drops of water were in his canteen, dangling under his shoulder. But he wouldn't drink it, not yet. The walk was tiring. Where did I go? I skipped something, sorry. The walk was tiring. He was being cooked alive in his armor. Shiny armor, heavy plating. Not good to survive in the desert, but he had no choice. It was either being boiled alive or end up like a pincushion, just like the others. There were 5 of them when they had left their guard post. Now there was just him. One by one, the others had shed their armor, thinking they were far enough away from danger. One by one, they had found out they were wrong. The desert folk had started their offensive early this year. Every year they played the dance. Every year they came in great numbers to reclaim the desert they had deserted the winter before. His people, the people of the temperate zone, can't survive in the desert in the summer in the scorching 60 degrees. The desert folk can't survive in the winter. When the temperature falls to a mere 30 degrees, then the temperature falls to a mere 30 degrees. Both people need the salts from the rocks in that region to survive. If he was lucky, he would get to shelter before the sun reached its highest peak, and before the desert folk caught him. So I'm going to, just opinions, and I guess I'm going to just go down the list again. Lizzie, first or third person, just and I'm going to ask a question that there may not be actual one or other answer to. Do you have a preference, first or third person? And do you first? Do you know why? Have you thought about it?
What, Lizzie?
It's easier for me to write in first person than it is in third person.
Okay. and it is a lot of times because we're in our character's head. We don't have to find ways to get back into the character's head. Wicked Fairy, how about you? Which do you tend to prefer? Or maybe not. Wicked Fairy, are you here, sweetie? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. For first person, second person, do you have a preference? And have you thought about it enough to know why you might have that preference?
I don't really know. I've never really done much writing until
Okay.
this club thing, so
Well, how about from reading?
I guess second person. Oh, well, reading, I like all of them.
Okay.
I really do. Because I like first person because you really get to know the character the way they want you to know them. But second person's so much easier to see how the interactions are affecting everyone.
Yeah.
Or third person, I
Yeah.
mean.
And can you think of a time, and again, Lizzie, I'll go back to you. You said you like writing in first person. Can you think of a time when that might end up being a problem? Because that's what I found after I had written about 50 pages. Like foiled.
Wait, what? Are you asking me?
Yeah, can you think of a time that first person, I mean, you find it easier to write in. Can you think of a time or something that you might end up writing that would be a problem?
Probably action scenes, because it'd be hard describing what the other people were doing more than what she was thinking at the time or he was thinking at the time, kind of thing, because action scenes Like, there's so much going on at once, and first person would be their thoughts as well as what they're seeing, but they're not seeing everything.
Yeah, and I think that last part you hit on is where I found it was a problem for me. I needed some things to happen, or I needed to get some information across to the reader, and I couldn't do it from first person, because without just changing this whole story just dramatically, there was no way that I could think of, at any rate, to get that information out. And when you write in first person, the only information you ever get to share is what that character sees. That person right there, as they are seeing something, as they are feeling something. So things that are going on off stage, things that happen to other people, other conversations people are having, actions that are going on, how other people are feeling, you have no access to. You've just got the one. And I found I'd written myself in kind of a hole because I hadn't even thought about it. But it is very personal. And that, like you both have said, that it's extremely personal. You're right there. You are the character. And Lizzie, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Well, I feel that writing in first person for just one character's story, like, you know how they have books that have multiple character stories that go from one character to another? Those are always in third person, usually. Unless they switch point of views, which is kind of weird to read in a book, but it's been done before, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, that's probably the only time you'd want to write in first person, is when you're doing one person's story without incorporating another person's story into it. But I understand the whole wanting to have the whole red herring kind of thing going on.
And the one thing I love about first person is the red herrings can come from the character, their own misunderstandings and their own misconceptions. They can see something that's happened and they're going to describe it the way they see it. And that can be wrong. It can just be completely and totally wrong, because we misunderstand things all the time. Or we see somebody doing something and we assume it's this, and it really, doesn't have anything to do with that. And if you can portray that through your character, you can do some really fun things. Because we'll see how they see things, not necessarily how it, what's really going on. And that can be some pretty awesome red herrings all by itself. That can be really good.
Well, that's like the situation with Anne Rice's two books, Interview with the Vampire and then Vampire Lestat. The first one is Louis' take on everything, and then Vampire Lestat is Lestat's take on the same situation, like the same stuff.
Yeah. And it can work. I mean, you've got to be really clear about who's actually doing the talking. You've got to find a way to get that to us, and usually it'll be like a chapter or a section of the book will be from one person's point of view, and you can even within the same book, take it from another point of view. And you're right, it can be strange. It can be a little disconcerting unless you really find a way to set it up so people know without saying, okay, this is a different person, because that's not great either. Another problem with first person is describing our characters, and we don't usually have to describe our characters near as much as we think we do.
Unless they're looking in a mirror.
Yes, and that's the one that's always used, unfortunately. It's the first thing because it's easy, we all think of that one, and that gets a little trickier. So even the things where you have to set them up to say, well, I got a new haircut, I'm checking it out and describing how they feel about it, maybe, or I'm dressing up for a certain thing and I have to check out my outfit or something like that. So I mean, there's lots of ways to do it. Unfortunately, most of them have been done a lot already, because it gets hard to think of some way. How do you portray that? So.
If I were to continue writing from where I was, like, it would go from them escaping to them being somewhere isolated, and then looking into water for the reflection to see if they're wounded.
Yeah, and you could do something, actually, you could do something like that where they're looking and you're describing the busted lip or the bruise over the eye and how the dark curly hair fell down over it, or they pushed back the dark curly hair to see, the open gash above the eye. Like there are ways you could talk about how their clothes were hanging on their body that, um, they were they'd lost all this water weight for the guy in the desert, or you could find ways to let people know that, well, they're already really thin and now they're really thin because they're about to die, or and there are tricky little ways like that, and those are good because they help actually move the story along too. We don't have a paragraph of somebody looking in the mirror saying, okay, my hair is kind of blonde, and she looked in the mirror and checked out her blonde hair and her green eyes, and was her lipstick right, and was whatever. That's a lot more creative. That would be a lot more creative, and where you you find a way to move the story along with it too. Yeah. But that one can get tricky. That one can get really hard. It's like we have to get something out there. People need an image. We need some kind of image, because I've read some books where you're going quite a ways through and you don't really have a sense of what you're seeing, and then there's one line and it just kind of, you've got all this picture built up in your own head, because your brain won't leave a void. It will fill it with something, and if the writer hasn't given us the words to fill it, we'll fill it ourselves, and then they print something that's completely opposite, and you have this moment of, well, I don't even know what I don't even know what I'm reading now. So yeah, Wicked Fairy. Oh, I thought I saw your light flash. Maybe no. Okay.
No, I accidentally hit the button.
Okay. Alrighty. So with third person, with first person, the big points are it's very, very personal. It's really easy to get, inside this person's head. You got to make sure this person is somebody that we're going to like, though, because we literally have to spend every sentence of the book with them. And that doesn't mean they're perfect. It means we're going to feel
Relatable.
Yeah, we have to feel a connection of some sort to these people, because we're going to be spending a lot of time with them. We don't ever get away from them. We don't ever get a break. So if we don't have an emotional connection very, very quickly within the story, we probably won't finish the story. So you've got to get those emotions there done really quick, because we're in this person's head. So it has a lot of strengths, and for me, from the mystery point of view, it's hard because
That's what I was going for, mystery, actually.
and it's tough. It's tough because, and you know what? If you're looking for a mystery, there is a series of books. What's her name? I was just going to say it, and it went right out of my head. They're the ABC murders. There's an entire series of murders, and it starts like A is for, I can't remember the titles. A is for assassination, B is for whatever. And there's a whole series, she's got a whole series of them, and she's writing from like a private eye point of view, and it's first person. And
Is it Sue Grafton?
might have been. Actually, it might have been. Yeah. I don't remember now. I should know this because I've got, or used to have dozens of her books. And I can't remember.
A is for Alibi, B is for Burglar. It's the Kinsey Milholm series.
That's the ones. Yeah, Kinsey Milholm. So she's a private eye. They're all written first person. And one thing about first person, though, and you got to keep tension up, right? If the person is telling me the story, I already know they didn't die. I already know that they weren't killed. I already know they're going to be around because they're telling me the story. Right? Go ahead, Lizzie.
Well, for mine, it's a supernatural mystery, so in a way, they could be dead.
This is true. And that's part of what you've set up at the first part, is we don't even know if she's dead or not. There is, oh gosh, okay, it's called the Thomas Covenant series, and it's sort of a fantasy. It's about a fellow who has leprosy, of all things, modern day today, and he is transported to this place called the Land, and there are giants and dwarves and big trees, and I love the Land. It's fabulous, and he thinks he's dreaming. It's always done in first person. So we have no idea if he's actually dreaming or if this stuff is real. And you start, every book would start with him kind of being in Earth, our world, or ending back in a hospital room or something like that. And there were 6 books published, and somewhere, I think it was in the 4th or 5th book, there was a little blip in his writing. He had one single solitary scene about a big war that we kind of needed to know about, and there was no way to write it from the first person point of view. And it was just literally about a chapter, just a good chapter size. And the editor caught it and went, "You put this in from somebody else's point of view. That means the land is real. Now we know. You've just taken the whole guess." So they pulled it, and after the series was completed, they published that as a little extra bit that you could go and buy. And but it was amazing because as the reader you're going, okay, this has got to be real, because you love the place so much. It's got to be real. It's got to be real. But he does some really horrible things sometimes because he believes he's just dreaming. He just doesn't, there's no consequences because this can't be real. And since we only ever see it from in his head, we don't know. And Lizzie, you're setting up something that could be like that right to the bitter freaking end before we find out if it's real.
Yeah, that's actually what I would do. I would wait till the end to show if she was.
Grab one of those books. They're called the Thomas Covenant series. Grab one of them. They're fabulous. Just read one because he does it better, I think, than any other books I've ever read like that. We're in the guy's head and we still don't know what's going on. It was awesome. Really good.
You had no clue what was going on, but you loved it.
Yes, you do it, and you wanted it to be this, but you really didn't know. There really, you could decide to believe whatever you wanted, but you really didn't know till the end of the series. It was pretty.
There was no for sure.
None at all. None at all. And it's like, geez, don't be a jerk, guy. What if this is real? You just wanted to smack him. He was kind of an anti-hero. He wasn't necessarily a great guy, but you there was enough there that you wanted him to be. You were rooting for him to, to try to smarten up and get better. Stephen R. Donaldson, The Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, for those who want to know. So, okay, so we have something from oh, I thought you had posted. Did Manuel? Did he have something written that I was supposed to be reading, or I thought I saw something flash by? Okay, well, while that gets sorted out. So first person, it's strengths or it's very personal. It can still be very tricky. Red herrings, misdirection can be handled by just, you get to live the actual characters' misunderstandings and misperceptions of different things. And that alone allows us to be even closer to the person. The problems can be that if you need something out there, you've got to find a way to bring it in. And you have to find a way to describe a character that hasn't been done so many times that everybody's going to yawn through it. And that one can be really, really tricky. That can be bad. Hello, Seraphim. We have some new people. Horsey. There was some other names here. Jazz. Well, I'd seen some other names come in, and I wanted to say hello. And, well, hello. Anyway, if I missed you, I did see you. With third person. Third person is sometimes easier. Not always. It is easier in mysteries because you can come from another point of view, and you can have, you can get into the head of the bad guy even, and that can build a lot of tension because you know what's coming and the character doesn't know what's coming, and oh my god, this is, you can have that sort of thing going on with the different viewpoints. He said, she said, he did this, she did that. And then to get into their head, I'll be honest, I find it's almost as easy because you can just say, she thought, or you can change the tone in such a way, let's see. I'm going to use this last one here. He could feel the sun burning on his back. He was still heading north, away from danger. He could feel the sand. His last precious drops of water were in his canteen. Now, instead of saying, but he wouldn't drink it, not yet, you could just say something like, and there's no way I'm touching that, not yet. You know, you could put in that one sentence that is an I, and then we know we're in their head. You can put it in italics, that's used sometimes, or just saying he thought, and now we're in this character's head. So if you change the tone, and if the character has developed a really good voice, it can be, in my opinion anyway, absolutely as personal as first person. And it does allow you to get out if you need to. You can run away and hide for them if you have to. So I don't know. They're both, and sometimes you have to describe things more. Like with and that's what I found. Where's that little thing I did? The first one, it says, I do not seek salvation. I long for fear and shadow. He offers me a home, and I want punishment. I find his tenderness repulsive. I want a savage grab instead of a gentle hand. I want to feel only the passion you awoke in me. I want to be taken, slammed up against my own hunger, and made to face my darkness and know myself truly for what I have become. I'm sorry, what was that? Was it just a random squeak? Okay. Oh, I thought somebody was saying something. I was gonna...
Oh, no, but I have a fun tidbit.
Okay. Related to this one, or...
It's related to writing.
Okay, all right. Okay, one sec. Hold on to it. So when when I was able to write it from first person, it was just how she felt. But when I went to third person, how do I say... she did not seek salvation. She longed for fear and shadow. He offered her a home. And I found when I was writing it that way, it felt really flat. When I just took the pronouns and changed it, I thought, okay, this really blows in third person. That particular piece was just, because that's what I did at first. I wrote it first. I did the exact same thing in third person. And it was the most boring, horrible thing. I'm not saying the first one's great, but man, the second one was awful. It was really embarrassing. It was really lousy. So I thought it doesn't translate immediately from one to the other as well as I would have hoped that it would have. So I actually had to add things to make it work, that she looked at the man standing before her. He offered her a home and tenderness, but it's punishment I deserve, she thought. I do not seek your salvation. And then she turned away in sadness. I had to explain that because in the first one, we know she's going to do that because she's saying, I find it repulsive. But just saying she found it repulsive comes into the, how do I say this? In this particular passage, in first person, I'm not being told what this girl is unhappy, this girl is whatever. I know it because I'm in her brain while she's thinking it. But when I turn those same words to, she did not seek salvation, she longed for fear and shadow, all of a sudden I'm being told she's unhappy. I don't get to see it. I don't get to feel it. And so for me, I had to have her looking at him, and then she turned away. I had to show her rejecting him, because otherwise I was just telling people how she felt, and there was like no emotional connection at all. It was just somebody telling me about somebody else, and it's like, who cares? She felt passion for him once, with him, only him. So you get a feeling that that's in her head. That's what she's thinking. It was just him. It's important kind of thing. I don't know. I found when I just changed the pronouns directly, it didn't work. It just absolutely did not work, unfortunately. So that can be another thing. And that's what I found when I was writing the World of Warcraft stuff. When I wrote myself in a place I didn't know how to get out of, because I wasn't planning it. I was writing away. Oh, this is fun. And I had to rewrite a lot. Oh God, I had to write a lot. Anyway, so Demonac, you're here. Did you have something to read? Does anybody else have something that they wanted me to read in here? If you don't have a microphone, Now, somebody wants to buy my poster. No, they are gifts. They are not for sale. They're available anywhere. Go to poster.com. Both of these are up there. Not a problem. Go buy them.
Well, I have to say, what you were saying about having to go back and change one or the other, I had the same issue. Like, I tried starting with first person, and I'm like, this is getting, like, to the point, like, bullet point sounding. So I went and I wrote the second person, and I'm like, wait, this isn't matching up with the first one now. So I went back, changed some things, went back to the third person, added things, changed some things. Like, I did that like 10 times.
Yeah, and they're different. They are really, really different. And it's you can't just get away with changing the pronouns as much as I would like to on occasion. So anyway, that we've talked a little bit about this. We are having a second stream. Actually, we've been doing this for an hour almost. Go figure. Or can I post a couple sentences for you to read? Absolutely. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. If anybody else has got something that they wanted us to read here in this session today, you've got about 2 minutes to get it posted or get it sent to Essentia, who can post it in here in Raid Call, and I can read it, or you can come into the Raid Call and read it, but really quick. So, first person, Reg Cooper saying first person is up close and personal, but third person gives you more possibilities in disclosing things that the protagonist doesn't or can't know. And those are the two biggest differences between them. And there are a lot of other things, but those are the two that really just stand there and smack you in the face with a cold fish. Seraphim says, a young soldier who has always obeyed the orders, no matter what the price, is sent on an assignment that could possibly change her life forever, as she becomes torn between doing what she is told and doing what is right. Meanwhile, senses of war are on the horizon that reach from ancient time, lost in history. And it, as a quick little synopsis that we've talked about a couple weeks ago, for just let's take your story and just slam it down into as short as possible, that little thing that you can just put, across the front of a book and say, this is what it's about. That's brilliant. You've got a lot of tension. You got, we know who's there. We know what's going on. And you've got that big question. Okay, what's making her choose? What's going on? The drama is there. We've got war. We've got a lot of things going on. That's actually a really good little grab of something. That's good. I like it. So Manuel sent a piece. He just barely. So somebody is sending something they just finished writing. That's a brave one. That's really good. Okay, so I'm going to be reading this one. Manuel, thank you. Detective Baxter yelled the mob of press out near the crime scene. Are there any new details on the Diana Yates murder case? Said the reporter from the Tribune. Danny addressed the members of the media with a plethora of police behind him. At this time, the NYPD cannot give any details about the crime at this moment. We will notify the press when we can, he said, his voice strongly making its way across the army of microphones. He walked back to his car, putting his case notes away in the glove compartment as he got in. He placed the key in the ignition and turned the car on. As Danny was about to change gear, he gets a call from Central saying that there had been another rape related to another string of attacks that he was investigating. Crime never rests, nor shall I, he said as he pulled away from the scene. So again, as an opening, as Danny was about to change gear. So this is third person, so we don't have the first person, although, we've got his voice, he is talking, we're able to kind of get into his head, crime never rests, nor shall I, so we get a sense that this guy feels driven, he's got, we're in third person, but we are still able to wander in and out of his head as we need to, so that's always good, and that's great. And we have a detective, and we've got, a serial crime starting to happen. We've got some things set up. We know that it's been going on for a while. The press is all excited, so we know we've been dropped right into the middle of a big poof something thing. So nice job. So guys, I'm stopping this one. I am going to spend the next 2 hours. Actually, I was about to say writing, and that's my big plan from now on. Not going to go right into gaming. I'm going to stop. We're going to have another one of these at 6 o'clock for anyone else who wants to write furiously for the next 2 hours to come and share things, which I will be doing, I'm sure, every week. And for those who are later, and there's several people who will have things this evening that they wouldn't have been able to be here this afternoon. So we'll have session 2, we'll have early session, late session, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays.